Yeah, it still works.
Oh shit! What the fuck?
So it's picking up it might be picking up the webcam mic.
Yeah, because the quality is.
Doc said he doesn't like you.
Oh, I knew that already. I don't like you too.
That's not true.
You're welcome.
That's not true. You know that's not
Do you
true.
like my pajamas?
She's got Reptar
Oh.
pajamas.
Awesome.
Helpful.
My son was wearing a T-Rex pajama last night, and we had this little game where we say "rar," and he looks at his T-Rex on his pajamas, and he's like, "rar."
I prefer square tables.
Goodbye.
What did he say?
Oh, how about rectangular tables?
You know what? Here you go. I'm not playing this game. Here you go. Yeah, you're up.
Rectangular tables are more practical.
Yes, thank you. He said round table. I said I don't like round tables.
But then, if it's round, you don't have to worry about one of the edges, jutting into your stomach if you're sitting on the corner.
There you
But
go.
that could be your escape route.
That's a very pointy and harmful escape route, especially if someone suddenly bumps into you from behind, and you're like, "Oh, I need a new kidney, thank you. Can I have a new stomach?" I don't know.
That's
Depends on
quite
your
the-
depends on your turn, how your turn. Because I've definitely, managed to do some things. I don't know. I set up.
Hi, I
a
don't know who
thing.
you are.
I'm Blaze.
Oh, that's a great
Hey,
way
Blaze.
to meet new people. I don't know who the hell
Oh,
you are.
Java fans?
God, we're not live yet.
We are live.
Cat's looking
There
at
we
me
go.
like a fuss. Oh, are we?
Yes, we are.
I should finally fix my lights.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Oh man.
And that was my wife.
It's all Matt's fault.
Yeah.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Oh no. Certainly for the people that do like the marathon streams, like the 12, 24, 48 hours or more. Go to sleep, people. Just
Yeah.
go to sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. Go to sleep, but also with having several different platforms of content. I've seen Panda's TikToks. I've seen McBlain's TikTok videos. It takes time to edit those and put those together and everything, and that's not including YouTube and every other form of content to get out there and provide content for your audiences. Oh, Souls can hear me now. That's good because I only talked for like 4 minutes straight. Yeah, there is a couple things. Plus, also the grinds when new games come out, and I know 10 went through this with the new raid and the content that dropped out. She lived in the raid. She made some of the still is, and made some of the most detailed maps you will find in the community for these rooms and encounters. I mean, we use them all the time when we're running around, making Irez's, life a living hell. We're going into the raid with him. So I know he gets anxiety when he thinks about it, with us coming in like, oh, okay. Oh, God. But
it's those guys now.
But the maps help so much, but grinding, it can be just so overwhelming. But with the one person in chat, one thing that really sticks out to me is not necessarily like, I don't want to label it as like warming up for like streaming and this and that, or for like gaming, but definitely utilizing stretching and like dynamic warm-up routines, especially if you're sitting at a desk or in a chair. You definitely want to be able to definitely warm up, and then keep in mind movement and posture and stuff like that. Those are really great ways to keep your body from kind of, oh God, what's the worst? Get loose.
Tensing up.
Yeah,
and you want to avoid it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's specifically, especially with, gaming and stuff, it's with your fingers, your hands, your wrists, your forearms, stuff like that, movements of your eyes, and then also your posture and the ergonomics of it as well. Like ergonomics, how many people have looked at chairs and go, this chair is ergonomic, and not know what that means? I mean, with the
and people not really seeing the value of higher end chairs. And I'm not talking about like gaming chairs. I'm talking about proper ergonomic chairs.
Yeah.
Leave my gaming chair alone.
I was to say, I use a gaming chair.
You leave my
but nicer chairs.
Leave my XL Racer alone.
But like they make a huge difference for legs and stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I switched from a racer chair.
Yeah, it's the micro adjustments.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but also another thing, your armrest, where you're putting your arms. the different height of your armrest and everything with your chair or where you're sitting, whether it be more comfortable with your arms on your desk or on the arm of of the couch or chair, wherever you're sitting. But if you're in a gaming chair, you really want to have the level so when you put your arms down on the sides, it's at a 90 degree, and that doesn't compromise your posture when you're sitting as well. And one thing to really avoid, and I know everybody does this, especially if you're in trials or playing something competitive, you just sit forward. And now you're leaning.
Gamer lean.
The gamer.
It's gamer lean on.
Yeah.
Playing split screen on the couch, and when someone just creeps over, it's like, okay, they're getting serious.
But let's be honest, that's Joe at 2:00 in the morning. Like, I'm going flawless. I'm
at 5 wins, man. I could do this.
It's when my 7-year-olds beat me in Smash Bros. One too many times. I'm like, okay. This has to stop.
All right.
Listen, I let you win the first 6 times. Like, no.
Yeah. No. Now he has a big head. He's like talking smack. I'm like, nah. Got to put it into it.
It's like, I could use Little Mac. Like, no, I'm gonna show you the reasons why you can't use Little Mac right now.
Yeah, but
gaming is primarily a sedentary activity. Again, we're not counting VR and Wii, but having proper posture, even if you have a really good chair, it doesn't mean that you have proper posture in said chair.
No.
I say nothing.
I got nothing to add there. My posture is terrible.
Yeah.
So is mine.
I'm saying,
and again, I'm not the expert on ergonomics. I'm far from it, but our spines are made to move. So the posture that we have isn't necessarily bad, but it kind of leaves the impact on our muscles.
The other thing that I think that I've noticed too, as far as not just for gaming, but just looking at a computer for a long time each day, my eyes really start to actually hurt. And that's also because I'm getting old, but I've noticed it more so where, like, by 6-7 o'clock at night, I'm like, oh God, why does everything hurt?
Mm-hmm.
Why are my eyes like closing? So I think that's the other thing too, to kind of be mindful of too. If you wear glasses, get the ones with the blue light blocking. Those do legitimately help. Just so that way you can keep your eyes for longer as well too.
A good rule is a 20-20-20.
Yep.
So every 20 minutes, you look 20 feet away for 20 seconds.
There was another thing I was reading too, and I'm gonna go into this a little bit in a few minutes. But I read a really interesting study by Oxford University, and it really was cool. But another thing that really touched on the vision side of it with your eyes and to curb eye fatigue is blink hard. Do sets of 5 to 10 hard blinks, which will exercise your eyes and actually help fight off fatigue for your vision.
It should help with blood flow.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that was really neat.
What was that 30 for 30 that we were talking about?
20-20-20. Yeah, 20-20-20.
30 for 30. Same thing.
Those are the ESPN documentaries. Also very good, though.
Yeah. Use your eyes for those too.
You do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think switching from physical to a bit more on a mental health level, though, one of the things I kind of always go to is not the addiction standpoint when it comes to video games, because that is severely debated, even just on like peer supported articles and research.
Even with the WHO and the APA, it's still highly contested.
Oh, absolutely. Who is it? The WHO has it, and not the band.
Who has the
World
ICD
Health Organization.
Yeah, World Health Organization and the ICD have internet gaming disorder.
Right. It's the APA that's like,
It's
that
on
one.
section 3. It's on.
Yeah.
Still needs more information before we make a consensus.
Right.
Well, go ahead, Matt. Finish your thought.
No, so I think it boils down to more on a level of thinking to where is this fun? Are we doing this for joyful activity? Is this bringing us a sense of satisfaction? If it stops and it becomes a source of torture, a source of like breaking things, breaking controllers. I really did. I had like teenagers at one point when I was doing private practice that would come in and they would tell me like that they've broken, 4 or 5 Xbox controllers. And I'm like, well, 1, they're expensive. Stop it. But then 2, why? What are we doing that's bringing us to that level? Because that's the opposite of what games are supposed to be doing.
Yeah, games
and so
are
it opens
supposed to
up
be
the
fun.
door for right. It opens up the door for a bit more of a conversation too, as to, like really what's going on or really what's the purpose. Because sometimes I've also seen where it's more of like a peer pressure thing to continue playing and to continue keep going. The late night Fortnite runs, the late night Trials runs. Joe,
Panda does it too.
Hey.
right. But you're just easier to make fun of.
True. I'll take it.
And he's got a panda hat behind him, and you're still easier to make fun of. So I think that has a play in it too, where there's more of it. It's the game stop bringing the happiness in a sense. It starts bringing frustration, starts bringing anger, starts bringing broken controllers and things like that. Gamer rage is real, but not in the way that you think. Not in the way that I think it's portrayed in media. It's more so on a frustration level. It's more so on a peer pressure level. It's more so on a.
But
I'm
what
just
about a
doing this-
status level too? You know,
It's
Oh,
the
absolutely.
intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation of the thing, where a lot of people will chase trophies or a gamer score for clout.
or highly competitive individuals who have to run something on the master level to, like you said, get that trophy, get that status, go flawless. And especially in gaming, there's always going to be somebody better than you that you're going to come across that
That's not
is
true.
going to dude,
There's
I
no
don't know
one
what
better
game
than me.
you're playing.
And
Ken
again,
can
a
vouch.
lot of
She's
people
done raids with me, and I go flawless.
In raids?
Yeah,
Oh,
10
okay.
can vouch for me, right? No, okay, cool.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm awful.
One,
we all know
one thing
this.
that can happen is a lot of people have
all
grand
start
aspirations for gaming, and they see streamers or they see esports athletes, and they want to be that. And it's a good path or dream to have, but the probabilities of someone reaching that level are very small. Not because they might not be good, but it takes so much time and dedication. And just like other sports, actual like physical sports, the people that excel are not just due to how much they train, but due to genetic abnormalities that give them a competitive edge. Perfect
Yeah.
example there is Michael Phelps. Did you see the wingspan on that guy?
It's
Well,
insane.
He's a massive.
Yeah,
massive
He's built for swimming.
Yeah, I coach cross country and track, and I talk to athletes about that. Like, even my athletes that are top tier, they should go to state, they should compete in the top 3. There's always someone better than you when you go to college. There's always someone that you're chasing after. And I think the problem is that that's healthy to an extent, but you have some people that take that and it becomes anger because they can't get to that point. And
And that's
They
where the
start-
acceptance comes in.
Yeah, you have to
Of-
learn to accept it.
Anger, frustration. Sometimes you start blaming yourself or others too. That's something I see in gaming too. Um, some of my friends sometimes get that, and I have to be like, "Hey, stop." So
Mhm.
it's not just like even sports. Sometimes it's the gaming world, or even in other situations too.
It's the why. Why is this person here and I'm not there? Why,
Yep.
I think the negative side of that question is what's wrong with me that I'm not where this person is, right? And it's funny enough, me and my wife were actually talking about this, but more on like a workplace level. But you know, it's somebody coming in brand new to the field is not going to get the promotion that they want right away. Why? Because the time hasn't been put in yet, the experience is not there, the need or just the knowledge is not there yet. And that's not a bad thing. That's something that everybody does need to sort of acquire as they move within their profession or what they're looking to do and achieve. That doesn't mean you're never going to get to that spot. It's just going to take time, work, effort. But yes, there is always this acceptance of like, yeah, no, I may not be, not, and I also don't want to go down the road of like shooting people's dreams down, because that's also
But we
not
also
good
need to be
do
very
either.
realistic.
Yeah, you
Right.
it's
And there's
like
a healthy blend.
Yeah, it's like a realistic expectation of like, hey, this is achievable, but maybe this is out of my reach, and that's more of a long-term goal than something I can accomplish right now.
And there was a good study that came out, I think it was the last week, with one thing that you were talking about, Matt, of college graduates that just come out of college that come out from Ivy Leagues and how much they overestimate their salary. So their starting salary and how much they will be making. And dependent on degrees as well. But they were overestimating their salaries by $30,000 to $50,000 a year. Where the general average was around $60K, they came out of university believing that they would get a six-figure job right out of college.
I taught at a college that helped people get their associate's degrees for a while. And some people were, getting their associate's degrees. Some people were already employed and they're using that to try to get the promotion. But I always did this project at the end of the class and I was like, hey, I want you to tell me about your field. How does it apply to math? And the one thing they always brought up was how much they were going to make. And it was just astounding to me, like how much over they were going to make than what was a realistic expectation of what they were actually going to make. And so that happens even at a lower level, with an associate's degree as much as it has at an Ivy League university. And it's crazy. It's this unattainableness that people seek, it seems like.
And we've all heard these stories of like these self-made individuals that reach the top of the mountain. But those stories are very far and few between. Most people will be somewhere in the 95% of average. And that's still great. Oftentimes we look at these outlier experiences and we look at them as things to strive for, but we don't necessarily understand, one, what goes into be those outliers, and two, kind of the genetic luck that happens.
Looking at a really interesting study that was performed in esports on competitive gaming and its effects on the effects of competitive and interactive play on psychological states in professional esports players. And
they burn out quick.
Very. And this study was very in depth, not only for the psychological state, how it affects competitive play, not only affects you psychologically, but physically as well. And especially with your motor skills as well, with the height and heart rate and everything else. I pinned it in our chat so you can look at it more. But yeah, I think it's really understated how much competitiveness in gaming really affects a player, not only mentally with heightened anxiety, heart rates, everything else, but just I lost my train of thought.
Yeah. But what you were saying, not many gamers are going to be Tom Brady, where they can compete at that level at that age.
I was like Joe
Our
Montana.
reaction times slow down. And if we continue to try to be the twitchy shooter that the teens and young adults are, some of them may, most people won't be that twitchy shooter, and you kind of need to learn to adapt to the current limitations that you have. And that's where that acceptance comes in. And I talk with a lot of clients about ACT, so acceptance and commitment therapy. And oftentimes people think acceptance is giving up. Acceptance is just stating what it is and being okay with what it is. So last week we had essentially a full week of rain. And I made the comment of, I could either say, it's raining outside, it sucks, it's dreary, it's depressing. How am I going to enjoy my day now? So I'm letting something that is uncontrollable affect my mood. Or I could say, okay, it's raining. There's nothing I can do to change it. I accept it. Now what?
I think also too, for anything, right? There's got to be this differentiation between fame and a job, right? Because yeah, I'm not gonna be Ninja, and I kind of don't want to be. No, I'm joking. I'm okay with that. But if I can make a living doing this, if I can pay the bills, if I can gather enough money to do something that I love, hell yeah, I'm going to continue doing that, right? And I want to make sure there's that distinction between fame and, work, right? Because streaming, whether you're in content creation, whether you're doing Twitch streaming, whether you're doing both, whether you're in esports, right? You still can make a living off of that. But you may not be, and because Blaze, you mentioned Super Smash Brothers, like I'm thinking of all the esports players.
Yeah.
You may not be Esam. You may not be oh my god, I'm gonna forget his name. I'm gonna come back to it though. But so you may not be at that level, but that's okay because you're still doing something that you enjoy, want to do, and it's fulfilling the societal need of unfortunately being adult and paying bills, which sucks. But you're also fulfilling that internal need of like, but I really like this and I'm enjoying this and I want to do this.
So what happens as well when you're talking about the fame and the job, when it comes to streaming, there are two main factors, which is the entertainment part of it. So how much of an entertainer that the person is and how good they are at the game. And someone can be really successful at not being very good at the game, but being a very good entertainer. Someone that's very good at the game might have a following, but they may not grab that engagement for people because their stream may not be as interesting to watch. And then you have the good mix of the two. But oftentimes what people don't understand as well is how much work goes in on the back end.
Oh, yeah.
So they're not just streaming. It's overlays, it's media contacts, it's social media, editing.
Oh, yeah.
Networking.
Yeah.
Working is
Huge.
Yeah,
Community
Networking's a really big part of it because the more you can interact with other creators too, the more you can help grow yourself or grow others. You get that interaction because sometimes energy that you get from playing with others also helps. So
just the example, we launched the new talk show that we have with Guardians MH, which is Healer's Journey. So me and Matt are working on that, and I started the endeavor of streaming that. So I was like, I'm going to throw my hat into the ring and learn this. And it took me a good couple of weeks with, thank God, the help of iRes with a lot of the overlays to build the stream. But it takes a long time and a lot of tweaking to get it just right. And things still break.
Oh, absolutely.
What? No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, listening to audio of yourself over and over and over again to make sure it sounds okay. Is it at the right sound level for everybody? Like just like little nitpicky things. Oh man, and they can drive you nuts. Like you just think about them and you're like, oh, okay, maybe it needs to go down. Like it's all over the place. Like just little tweaks.
Yeah, and then you'll tweak it,
and then everything
you won't
breaks.
like it, and then you'll forget where the setting was, and it's like, and then you just ruined everything. Yeah, no, you're both absolutely right, and you know what? I'm very proud of Dr. Goku for jumping into this because it's been like 6 years in the making, and now we're forcing him. No, forcing's the wrong word.
Gently nudging
him into doing the streaming side. He's got all the equipment for it. I mean, he's more than capable of doing it. So, but yeah, it's a really. It's really in depth, and it's a rabbit hole that you can just get sucked into.
Because it's not just having the equipment; it's learning all the intricacies of said equipment, of what it can do, and just how quick it can kind of screw things up as well.
I also think it comes down to comfort level too. Some people are comfortable just streaming off their if they want to stream their gameplay. I mean.
Just a standard PlayStation stream or Shadow Play.
Streaming right off your console on there to share it with everybody else and to start building community around gaming and everything for yourself is fantastic. And some people are just comfortable at that level with not having a camera, just going live on Twitch or YouTube or whatever, and that's absolutely fine. And then some people will get to a certain level where it's like, okay, I got everything I need. You really don't need 3 monitors, a tablet, soundboards, audio equipment, certain, crazy expensive mics. Just because you have all the gear doesn't mean that, one, you need it. 2, you're adding frustration and anxiety to yourself because you're going to be hyper focusing on this stuff. You got to learn how to utilize all these things to get the most out of it. I mean, the most bang for your buck on everything. And like I said before, it's a rabbit hole that can just suck you in, especially with just streaming. So,
and even now,
level is
with Twitch, it's so much harder to get recognized and noticed because of how saturated the streaming market is. So a lot of people come in saying, "Oh, I'm going to start streaming and I'm going to build 1,000 followers per week right from the get go." And it's not going to happen.
As of December of 2021, there is 7.57 million active streamers on Twitch worldwide. That is huge.
And that's not even counting Facebook gaming and YouTube gaming.
Yeah, that's not counting all the other platforms that are out there. That's just Twitch as of December. And that that number grew too. And it's also down from its peak from January 2021, where it was 9.89 million active streamers on Twitch. And that's massive. That's massive. To even just have a few people in your stream, that's incredible. I mean,
yeah. And a lot of the bigger creators that are there, one, got lucky and they were at that right moment, right time. And people don't, example like Ninja, people don't really understand how long Ninja has been doing this for. He was streaming before Twitch was a thing.
Yeah,
he was streaming on Justin TV.
It was Halo 1. He was streaming
Halo 2.
Halo 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was he's been at it for a long time, and for the level of recognition that he got when Fortnite got big, I mean that was
He just jumped on that game at the right time.
Yeah, how many decades after he started streaming, and then he hit the top tier. But you also, he's actually really good at the game, so that helps too.
And he's very entertaining.
90s.
Yeah, he cranks those 90s all day. Maybe not now.
Is that
because there's no building, but
Is that a Fortnite term?
It is.
Oh,
it is.
All right.
Yeah,
We're not going to talk about how I know.
No, it's.
I haven't played the Fortnites in a long time.
It's when you get bodied by like a 13-year-old that just built boxes up in the sky. Yeah.
It's so true. Though.
Well, they removed building now. So.
Yeah. So now I have now the playing field's even. I just have to get the Twitch move. I'll be fine. I'll be okay.
Oh, because every single like pro Minecraft player started playing Fortnite, and it was like game over.
Yeah.
At that point. But I had a thought, and I got distracted by cats and dogs and everything just now. So that's why my thought just went completely out the window.
Was it raining cats and dogs?
I mean, at this point in my household, it should be 4 cats and a dog.
I still got you beat.
Do you?
5.
Damn.
You need another
I had
cat.
7.
You're not allowed to talk to Amanda because she's starting to pester me for another one. And I said no. But it's this idea of doing what you love and enjoying it, right? If you're actively seeking for fame, stardom, and $1 million day one of starting out, you're setting yourself up for failure, in a sense.
That's how they're going to burn out.
Right, because you're chasing something that at the moment is unobtainable. So you pace yourself, right? You set the sub goal to 10, you set the sub goal to 20, and you move on and upward from there, right? And again, I think it always has to be said, the numbers sometimes do not reflect who you are as a person, right? Numbers don't mean, if just because you don't have 10 people in chat right now, I'm a failure. No, that just means Elden Ring came out 2 days ago, and the market
everyone's playing Elden Ring.
Right, but the market just saturated again, so everybody's viewers were a little bit less. Yeah. So it's the idea of that things fluctuate, and it's important to recognize that. It's important to build the community that you want to build, not one that's going to foster millions of dollars, because it just doesn't work that way.
It also changes depending on what game you're playing. Because I know I had, back when I used to stream pretty much full time, I was averaging about 30 viewers on average, which was really good. The reason why I was doing so good was because, one, I had already, gotten my name known kind of in the community, and it was a small community. There were only maybe about at most 50 of us streaming this game. So we all kind of knew each other. So when one person went and got off the game for the day, those people would then, migrate down to the other smaller streamers.
Right.
You're not going to see that in something like Fortnite or Destiny, because if you're just starting off, you're not going to know people. You're got a whole lot more competition, so you're not going to see that growth right away. And your audience may not always, be like, all right, well, I really came here to see you play like Subnautica because I want to see you for those jump scares. But then you're going to Minecraft, it's just like, I don't want to see you going and mining deep down for diamonds. I'm sorry. So
I want to see the Ender Dragon. Yeah, there's the amount of variables, especially when we get into anything, whether it's streaming, whether, because we were mentioning sports before, esports, the variables are completely, well, they're exactly that. They're variables, and sometimes you cannot control for them, and that's okay. You control what you can control, right? And I know we said this when we met at one, kind of when me and Doc met at one point, but you make what you want to make, right? The people will follow, in a sense, right? It's the old adage: you build it, they will come, and it's very similar.
Oh, now I feel old. I remember that movie.
I mean, I'm not that old. I'm 31.
I still watch Princess Bride.
Oh, my dad.
I love that movie. Love Princess Bride. That makes me old.
That is a good movie.
Damn right.
It is a very good movie.
But
it does not make you old. I'm older than you, so it's okay.
All right, cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man. But just to bring it back to just gaming as a whole, and I know we wanted to keep this just conversation to close to an hour. That way, we're not going too far over. But to bring it back to gaming, I really did want to bring up this this research, this study that Oxford University did, and they did this off of and this was about playing video games and how it can be good for your mental health. And they actually went and worked on actual off of actual gameplay data, which was at the time the first time that this is done. It always ran off of previous studies being self-reported time playing, not actual gameplay data. So they actually utilized that, and what they found was that playing 4 hours of games, video games a day, can actually be positive for your overall mental health. And some of the things that go with it actually were boosting your improved mental skills, such as like problem solving, logic, hand-eye coordination, fine motor skills, and that how just 4 hours a day can really boost your social skills and everything else as well. It was really a great study conducted by them. Granted, they did play Animal Crossing, and that they found that people who played 4 hours of Animal Crossing a day were much more happier human beings overall.
They must have had, Tom Nook must have been nice to them. That's all I have to say.
For real.
He was
Tom
not
Nook
after their
gave them
raccoons.
bells. That son of a.
You know what's funny is I remember back in my college days, I sat in one of my education classes, and that we had somehow it came up about how games were bad for kids and blah blah blah. I said, okay,
The whole moral panic aspect of it.
yeah, it's my favorite thing when it comes up. I'm like, all right, I got this. This is my time to shine.
Let me get on my soapbox.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, it doesn't help with social skills. It doesn't help with problem solving, blah, blah. So, okay, so let me break down a scenario for you. Back then, I was heavy into Madden. I used to play people all the time. And I said, there's a social component to playing Madden. Even if it's a one-on-one competitive game, there's a social component. So you are talking to somebody, you are communicating. And then you do have to develop a strategy on how you're going to beat that person. And when they beat you, can you come back? And I said, this isn't every game. I said, I'm just happen to be playing a football game right now. And the amount of things that go into gaming that are a skill that we teach in the education system, such as critical thinking and problem solving, which is a great math skill, is astounding. And the fact of, and I think about it now, even as a teacher, when the pandemic started, I was the one teacher that I said, I'm not using Zoom, I'm using Discord. And people were like, what's that? And then I had all my classes set up on Discord. I had this whole thing set up because of streaming, that I could record all my lessons. They were like a live lecture, and I could post the notes with the live lecture in case a student missed the class and the whole nine. But that allowed me to adapt. But a person that wasn't necessarily streaming or gaming wouldn't know how to do that. and I did teach a couple colleagues how to do it, but like gaming has been a useful skill. And for people that are introverts,
Absolutely.
you know, out in real life, it does give an opportunity to be an extrovert online because you don't necessarily have to have that face-to-face communication, and that does help.
So what you were mentioning there, Blaze, is called a fixed versus a growth mindset.
Right.
And gamers inherently have a growth mindset.
You know, it's funny because I have one of my teachers really preaches growth mindset, and I kind of do it through a different way. I don't throw out the words growth mindset because as soon as they hear it, they don't want to listen to me anymore about it. It's why I tell my runners now. I listened to a great podcast a few months ago where they had one of the old 49ers trainers on it, and he talked about how he doesn't talk about weaknesses. He calls it areas of improvement because it readjusts the mindset to in a more positive way. Oh, hey, I'm improving this skill. It's not a weakness that I have. I'm improving upon it. And it's funny because they're all these kids that I teach, they play games, but they're so against growth mindset. But I'm like, you're doing that. Like you have growth mindset. It's right there in your hands. You're just
Dark Souls or any Souls game is the perfect example of growth mindset.
Sniping in D2.
yeah.
It's very easy to do.
It
Next
sure
question.
is. Growth. Growth. Next question.
Getting through a new raid.
Yeah. So day one raids are a perfect example of growth mindset, meaning you can continue trying the same thing, but exploring what other possibilities are there and not being afraid to try and modify leads to better outcomes.
All I can think of is Matt.
I
Day
hate
one.
you. I knew you were going to do this. I knew you were going to do this. Shut up.
For 20 minutes going, did we try throwing a grenade through this thing?
Oh my goodness. Throw more grenades.
Look,
Throw
I
the
remember-
nade.
I remember playing PUBG with a buddy back in the day. He goes, they're shooting from the right. And I'm like, dude, the shooting is to the left. He goes, no, man, it's to the right. I was like, is your headset on backwards? And he goes, and there's a 30-second pause. He's like, I'm so sorry, guys. My headset's been on backwards. It's been like 2 hours of him just making calls the wrong side where we turn and we look and we just get annihilated on cooldown. And I was like, that has to be the funniest mistake to ever happen.
That should have
Mistakes were made.
Should have been a clip. But no, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's perfect examples, right there. And, and I love touching on the fact that, gaming and gamers is, it's really a growth mindset. And everything, when you play a brand new game or a new activity for the first time, you're not going to be number one at it. And everything takes time and growth and learning to able to do what you're looking to achieve in the game, whether it be Dark Souls or Elder Ring, running into an area and being like, I'm used to, spin to win and just run in and annihilate everything and just getting destroyed by whatever boss is in there. But
Millennia.
Yeah. But I think a lot of the older gamers have been conditioned with older games. So coming up on NES, SNES, and how punishing some of those games were. And there were no saved states back in the day. You lost your 3 lives, you
that's what I was
start
gonna
over
say.
again.
Shout outs to Ghost and Ghouls for teaching me the lesson at
Battletoads.
age 6.
I still have
Battletoads.
It hits me right here.
Yeah.
I still get anxiety from Ghost and Ghouls. And it's such a cool looking game. Never saw past the second board.
You know what made me more anxious than Ghost and Ghouls? Finding out there was a game where you play as the demon called Demon Crest. And I was like, okay, that exists. That's cool.
God.
I own it. Never played it. I found a copy of it, bought it, said nah. I'm
It's
not ready
sitting
for that.
there on the shelf somewhere.
Yeah, I know exactly where it's at. I know it's in the closet. I'm looking at it. It's there. One day I'll pull it out and I'll try to play through it maybe.
So it was an inherent limitation of games back then because we couldn't make the game super long, so let's just make it super hard.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's a game that's super hard and super long, but it requires someone to change and modify and grow. What you used on your last boss might not work at all here.
Yeah.
And if you don't dodge quick enough from a 20-foot monster in Elden Ring, you are done.
You might be behind a wall, but that sword will come through it. Yours can't go
Absolutely.
through it, but theirs can. That's a good tip just for anybody playing.
Yeah, well,
Elden Ring.
even there,
I just-
it comes with acceptance where people can have this frustration of this is a BS game. It shouldn't be like this. It's an inherent flaw of the game. Games aren't perfect. There's clipping. Things happen. And learning to play around the bugs and some of the inherent problems in said game is part of growing with this particular title.
Yeah. My favorite phrase to use is that's not a bug, guys. It's a feature. Because that just makes me feel that just makes me feel so much better every time I say it. Like it's a bug happens, I'm like, it's a feature, guys. It's fine.
The feature.
So it's like playing D2, where the other people have the bullets from the movie Wanted.
Yeah.
That literally just happened to me in a Crucible match right before I jumped on here, and I was salty as unholy hell. I'm behind a wall, and I'm like, "Oh, that's a headshot. How? What? Excuse me?
Lag.
Yeah, sure, leg.
Yeah.
Not good anti-cheat is what I'm saying. But
Maybe column A and column B, but the thing is, a lot of these games, even with D2, still use peer-to-peer
right.
rather than dedicated servers.
The other thing to jump. Sorry, who did I just cut off?
No, you're fine.
Oh, it was Joe. Never mind. I love you, Joe. Don't fire me yet. Going back to social aspects, right? And again, I'm sorry, I'm stuck on Super Smash Brothers now, since that's been mentioned, right? Because pre-COVID, the tournaments that you could go to, there was always a local chapter of a tournament, right? Whether it was in the only reason why I'm saying YMCA is because that's where it was for where I lived, right? Where you had a local chapter where people would come together and they would hold tournaments, right? That is social interaction, right? And it does teach it too, right? Because if you lose a game and you don't shake the other person's hand, you don't do the fist bump, you know what? You're taught that you may not be allowed to go back because that's not good sportsmanship, right? So unfortunately, it does teach the lesson, right? But if you do shake the hand or if you pop off appropriately and you're not getting to the other guy's face when you win, you're welcomed. You have conversations with people. You actually make friends, and it's the same with any game. I'm just using Super Smash as a.
But it's a big
as an
lesson
example.
that you learn as a kid, even playing sports. I remember growing up playing hockey. Surprised the Canadian playing hockey, but after every game, the teams would meet at center of the ice and shake hands. And this was done even, how old were we? Like 6 or 7 years old. And it was just the custom of, even if it's the final of a tournament, you would go and shake the hands of the opposing team.
Yeah, and not be like the one, I think it was a Florida State esports player last week who essentially. Did anybody catch that?
No, I
news?
didn't guess that.
There was a student who played on a University of Florida esports team.
It was Call of Duty.
It was Call of Duty.
Yeah, it was COD. I don't remember what happened. I know he popped off. I don't remember what he did.
Exactly. He popped off to the other team and completely just went over the line and was not. There was no sportsmanship whatsoever. He was just very out of line of what he was saying, and that I think that also comes to that competitive nature as well too. I mean, it can kind of feed into that
You can get
aggression.
lost in it.
Well, yeah, you can get lost in that competitiveness, especially on an esports team for a university. You're hyper competitive. You're also going to be hyper aggressive, especially when you win. I mean,
Yeah, that
There's competitiveness, but then there's also anger, right?
Yeah.
That's why
There's-
sports psychology
I was-
is such a thing.
Oh god, my bad.
No.
But you mentioned in the study that you mentioned, Joe, the effects of competitive gaming on physiological states of esports players. They've shown that when another human player is in the mix, you have a sympathetic nervous system response, which is that fight or flight
Become
mode
best friends. Yep.
that we go into.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
I remember coaching a couple years ago where we got disqualified after beating the #1 team in the state at a regionals competition, and my guys were really upset. Well, the guys that they beat fair and square, started cussing them out. And I was like, guys, just walk away. It is not worth it. I said, we race them again tonight in a different race. Leave it out there at the end of the night. And we walk up to the line for that race. Those guys are cussing them out again. I said, guys, just don't say anything. I said, it's not. They want to have bad sportsmanship. Everybody's watching them do it. You just go out there and run your race. My guys ended up winning. And I said, and they're like, we're going to say something. I said, nope. I said, you just go up to them, say good race, shake their hand, leave it at that. None of those guys shook their hand. And I think about that, like to this day, whenever I go to a regional competition, in any competition where I have my athletes out there, I'm like, make sure to treat the other athletes with respect. Not just for the purpose of our school, but you're also representing yourself and me. And I don't want to be portrayed in that way. And you shouldn't want to either. Like, but that just like sits in my head of, I just could not believe at a high school competition, they were just cussing them out for no reason.
but also in the same sense too, that's going to leave a lasting impression on everybody around them. That negativity and that aggression and everything like that, people aren't going to forget that. And I mean, this happened a while
It makes
ago.
a mark.
And
Yeah.
it's made a lasting impression. You're not going to forget about them because of how they acted. And that's going to be for anyone going forward as well, too. I mean, you
Just
kinda wanna
dropping
put your
down
best foot forward.
To that other person's level is not propping you up or bringing someone down. You're just bringing yourself down in the same way.
Yeah, that's why if I get teabagged in a game, I never teabag back.
I offer hugs.
You do. I've heard you.
Yes, you do.
Bet they're warm, too. No, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was going to say sometimes it's not just like being competitive. This is something that I've had to deal with myself. I used to play a game. I won't name it because I actually like the game. The community just was back when I played it a little rough around the edges. And I know the devs were actively working on it because of an incident. Sometimes it's not so much the fact that it's the competitive nature. It's because they haven't been taught to respect their fellow person. I've been told some things that would absolutely scar me, even to this day. Sexual harassment every other game, absolute verbal abuse, just you name it. I've probably heard it from this one particular game. And it wasn't because of the competitive nature. These were some of my own teammates. We had won. They then turned on me. It wasn't competitive at all. Sometimes it just games bring up a side of people and they like, oh yeah, I can be like this, and there's no repercussions.
Yeah, they're on the other side of a keyboard. They don't ever have to see a person again, so they say what they want.
Yeah. Sometimes people
so
can just be nasty for the sake of, oh well, it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
So it's about de-individuation. And the whole concept of feeling anonymous or feeling part of a crowd then enables you or emboldens you to do more things. And there was actually a study of this back in the mid 70s where essentially the study revolved around Halloween trick-or-treaters. And how the anonymity of it would make people take more candy from the bowl than if they knew who they were.
Yeah, because you're behind the mask in the costume. Nobody's going to know who you are.
Yeah, so they can't track me down. So it emboldened people. So the highest rates of stealing occurred when anonymous children in groups with altered responsibilities were there.
True, but in the same sense too, the positive side of that, it can, being on this kind of platform, being behind a character can also have the opposite effect where it gives people an opportunity to be more outgoing and helpful to others, even though in their day-to-day life they might be an introvert and more closed off and not really have more IRL social skills. But when they turn that game on at night, they are right there helping people out, doing some of the hardest activities, doing all this stuff, and it gives them an opportunity to really bloom, which is a great way to utilize kind of gaming.
So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Right, yeah.
Of it can be good or it can be not so good, dependent on the circumstances. And for some people, having that anonymity helps them be more social. But for some people, having that anonymity helps them say very vile things. But it's not necessarily the game's fault. It's underlying elements within the person that is them using this as a way to be a vehicle to essentially spew those things.
Right.
It's unfortunate because when stuff like that happens, right? And I used to get it a lot when I played Overwatch. That was you see that community, I always felt it's like 50-50. You could either walk into a game and it's, chill people, or you could walk into that game and the mics are toxic. Right? The one thing that I kind of learned, I guess, in a sense, is that it's unfortunate that somebody probably is going through something, has something wrong, right? And that doesn't make it right. I'm not sitting here saying that it's okay that people use anonymity or use, being behind a keyboard to say such vile crap. But there's just something going on. There's something wrong. That person is not okay for X, Y, and Z reason. Again, doesn't mean it's okay. You do the proper thing. You report, you ban, you remove. Overwatch had a feature where you would never be matched with them again. Things like that are done.
So the devs are trying. It's just hard.
I would almost say it's impossible. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was gonna say it's funny because I play a lot of Smite. That's like the main game I play. I coach, I cast, all that good stuff. And that has their community can be hit or miss. All right, it's one way or the other. But yeah, it can be one way or the other. But it's funny because when people get really toxic in the chat or they start calling one person out, I'm like, I'll even type in the chat, I'm like, hey man, it's a game. Like sometimes people have a bad game. There's nothing to say anything. It's funny because most people, as soon as you say something back to them like that, one of two things happen for the rest of the game. Or this is the trigger that has made it where, oh, someone's responded to me. I'm now going to become more toxic.
Right.
But on speaking on the point of I can't talk right now. I'm not even
Anonymity.
Yeah.
Not only,
yeah.
not
I was
only
gonna
I'm the
say
one that's making those words.
it's funny because
yeah,
I almost said like I was thinking sea anemone, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, like, and that's where my brain left. But I had a game where this guy starts just popping off in the chat, and I was like, I played comp with this guy. He knows me. And so, and he's going off on someone else on my team and then decides that I'm the guy he's going to start picking on. I was like, cool. I was like, hey man, remember we used to play comp together? And I got real quiet. And I said, just so you know, I'm trying to help you out. Like, just calm down. It's a game. If you placed a ward, that would help me know if people were coming. Nothing for the rest of the game. And you best believe there is a ward right where I'd pinged on the map for the rest of the game, because then I could know if someone was coming so I could help them out. But like a lot of those times, and it's hard to be that person sometimes, or to have that person in your game. Like sometimes you just don't have that person that calls those people out. And I don't mean like try to just, go back at them, just be like, hey, it's just a game. Or when they're going off, you're like, and they're like, oh, I've had a bad day. Well, I just got home from work and I'm trying to relax and you're popping off in the chat. Like, who are you helping?
Yeah. Just because you had a bad day doesn't mean that you have to make everyone else's day bad.
Yeah. Just hit the mute button on your mic, man. You can go off all you want. None of us have to hear you. Or just don't hit enter on the keyboard.
Yeah. Or if you're open to having other people being positive, maybe this will change the way you see things.
My personal favorite comment in any Smite game I've ever played at a competitive level is I had a teammate tell me we were being too positive. and that's why they were angry. And I said, dude, we're getting stomped. We got to take something out of this. And if that's being too positive, like reflecting on what we could do better.
We're getting stomped. They're just better than we are.
Yeah. Just take the headset off for 5 minutes, dude. The game will be over. It'll be okay.
Right.
But I was like, I've never heard that be the negative comment I've gotten back, is like, you're being too positive. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, dude. I'm happy about that. If I'm being too positive, that's not me in my normal day. Like, I feel like I'm pretty just like even right in the middle. Like, if I'm too positive, we're doing good.
But I think these are things that we kind of need to look for, these triggers or these hints of seeing people be in these negative mindsets where they get easily frustrated. They get reactive at things.
Yeah, quick to blame others rather than look inward is what I like to say.
Hey, I'm gonna call myself out a little bit. When there was a point when I was playing Overwatch like hardcore, I'd go into every single game and on mic, I would just say, I love all of you. Let's have a great game. I said it every game to the point where people were like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. I love all of you. Let's have a great game. Like, because I'm like, this has to work once. Like, this will help someone, or this will reduce something at least once. And if it works once, hell,
it worked.
That's okay. It worked. Yeah. If it doesn't, the worst that happens is I get made fun of, and that's okay. But that reminded me, like, the over positivity aspect. That's what that reminded me of. It is unfortunate. It's one of those things that is going to haunt kind of the gaming community in the gaming world, right? Is the toxicity of communities,
because it's behind a screen.
Yeah, and again, I personally don't know what to even. I don't have a solution for that. I think developers try as far as like systems go with banning and downvoting in a sense, and um, reducing matchmaking. Yeah, that can work, but it goes offline too, right? It gets to the point where if it's in Discord, it becomes even worse because they have a username. They can.
Oh.
It's so awful. And I think that just to that point, and to kind of end my word vomit here, there is assistance with that. There is Games and Online Harassment organization that has resources and support. Obviously, if the trolling or if the toxicity gets to a significant and like dangerous level, there are resources out there like that can really help and support. But
you don't have to suffer in silence. It's okay to
Right.
speak up and say this is going on.
Absolutely.
These services are there specifically for that.
Now, with that being said, and I know we're 20 minutes over right now, or actually 11 minutes over, I'd like us to kind of wind out. But with that being said right there, before we end the stream, what are some warning signs that everyone feels to look out for, that you're being affected by the game you're playing or what you're doing, and when you should be reaching out for help?
I
That you
know.
don't-
Anxiety.
Oh,
See, look at that.
sorry.
Everybody has one, and I love that.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I know if I'm getting like irritated with my teammates, like I'm just like I feel anger. I'm like, yo, I just need to go take a minute. And if that minute doesn't help, I'll be like, hey guys, I'm out for the night. Because that's just, it's not like me to get angry with people. And I'm just like, if I feel that, I remember when I was a kid, I used to be angry a lot. I was like, nah, I don't want to feel that.
Forcing yourself to play even though you don't want to play.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
that is a good one.
So feeling as though you have to. So it's a game. You don't have to play. You should choose to play. Gaming is like any other form of entertainment. You don't have to watch a movie. You choose to watch a movie. And just because you're trying to make it as a streamer or a professional esports player, it's okay to take a break. Or to play something else.
Yeah, that's always a good one. Like, always have like a backup game to play. That's like, and I don't mean just like, oh, I always have like a blah blah. Like, I go play Vampire Survivors. That's a $3 game on Steam that is completely like mind numbing, but has Castlevania components, and all you do is walk around. But like, it's just one of those things I can completely just clear my head.
Mhm.
It is.
Age of Empires.
Yeah.
That's mine.
Games should be fun.
Yep.
If you're not having fun, do something else.
10, you had one that you were going to say.
Anxiety. I can't play certain games because they bring up bad memories. Or I can't play with certain people without other people being there. So I try and lessen the load or try and make me feel less anxious. I won't do something if I feel anxious. Or if my chest feels tight or I'm like just feeling uneasy or anything, I just won't do it. I'll go and either play with someone else or I will go play a different game. Like you said, I have 200 games that I can play. I have plenty of other things I can do. I could go
Many
play
gamers will have
Doom.
an endless backlog.
Yeah. Or just sometimes like I know Joe, you sent me this wonderful pop tool. Sometimes just finding something that I can mess with my hands, or pet the cat or something.
I've had this thing in my hand the entire time while we've been talking.
Yeah, I have this constantly on the side in case I need it. So there's a bunch of different ways that I deal with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, having that
If
outlet.
it gets too, and if it gets too bad, I just uninstall the game.
Yeah,
I feel that.
yeah,
I feel that.
absolutely.
There's
It's
no
very
point.
relatable on that. Absolutely.
There's no point.
And I think that's where single player games really play a role, because you can play a single player game because it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
There's no competitive aspect. You're there to experience the story.
Absolutely.
Or playing, even if it's a co-op game, but you're playing the story, like playing the Halo campaign co-op, or playing something like Division. So you're going through the story, but you're having fun. You're not, unless you're playing the PvP aspect, but that's where a lot of those toxic moments come in.
I think mine is when I force myself to play when I'm tired. I sacrifice sleep and rest to play a game because I find it relaxing. I'll actually look at, like, I get up very early for work and I'll look at the clock and be like, I could be fine with 5 hours of sleep. And then I'll fire up a game and then it'll be 4 hours of sleep. And I will set and I'll be dragging the whole next day, and it really affects me. I have to get at least 6.5, 7 hours for me to function throughout the day. But I'll sacrifice adequate rest to play a game, and that's something that I need to work on. And I definitely recommend to people, if you're tired, get some
Go to bed.
rest. The game will always be there.
Most adults fall in between 6 to 10.
Right. I know somebody that
hours.
gets 10.
I wish.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
in that
it's-
4.5 to 5.5
Yeah.
hours area.
Same.
But like if I get 8 hours of sleep, I get headaches during the day. It's weird. I can get like 6.5 and I feel good.
Yep.
Like 5.5,
you
I
might
feel
be
good.
on that little that subpopulation that is fine with a 6 or 7 hours,
Yeah.
but some
I mean,
people need 10.
Yeah. My 5.5 hour mark, if I get 5.5 hours like on the dot, I feel golden for the day. I feel the best. I don't know what it is about it. But I agree. Like the lack
5
of
and a half.
sleep. Yeah.
You're kind of in between. Yeah, you're kind of within the REM cycles.
Yeah, I
Because
follow
your
like
REM
I follow
cycle
that-
goes 90 minute cycles. So I know we're kind of up on time, so I'm gonna stop.
We're
my
not
cycle.
going into a sleep lab.
No. Essentially, it's 90 minute cycles. So if you think 90 minutes, you're at 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then 4.5, and then if you're 5.5, you're kind of waking up on the last one.
You know what? You bring me down a rabbit hole. I found
we
this
like
thing.
rabbit
Joe.
holes.
Somebody brought this up to me like 2 weeks ago, and I can't remember where I saw it, but if I don't get adequate sleep, when I get home, I'll actually take my feet and kick them up like on the couch and lay flat on the ground and have my feet elevated, and I'll take a 15-minute power nap with my legs raised up on the chair. And it's surprising how well that I feel, how rested I feel after just that 10-15 minutes with just taking a quick siesta right there. It'll do. I don't know what it does, how it affects it, but it works for me. Maybe it's definitely psychological, but I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole too deep. But
It's another topic for another night.
it is. It definitely
Right.
absolutely is. But
It's not so much psychological. There is a science behind that 15 minutes.
Yep.
It's sort of that perfect right before you hit REM so that way you're not too deep into the sleep where you wake
Yeah,
up
it's
groggy.
about the 20-minute ish.
Yeah. So you're actually doing a good thing.
Science.
Joe, read that handout that I sent you the other day for the kit.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you sent? Oh yeah, it's been busy, man. It's been a busy,
I know.
busy time. But no, Panda, what's a sign for you?
My biggest sign is when I start getting frustrated with the game, because the game's supposed to be there to help me relax, help me get things off my mind, and if it's becoming another point of tilt, it's just not worth my time anymore, and I just get off the game. Because if I'm, harping on my teammates or harping on the enemy team, that's not really content. I'm not doing anything. It's not fun for anyone at that point. So it's just time to get off and do something else with my life. Usually I go paint.
Yeah.
But that's my 1 point usually.
Mm. Well, if you want to spin that in a gaming way, explore the game Flow or Flower. Don't know if anyone has played Flow or Flower.
No.
I have played Flower a little bit, and yeah.
So that game company, So that game company had they made Flow, then they made Flower, and it's really putting you in a psychological state called the flow state, where things just flow, and that's where you relax and zone. Same thing when you're doing watercolors, you're in that state of flow.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, to round us out, what's a warning sign for you?
I'm gonna kind of hop on what Blaze said a little bit. Yeah, if I'm getting annoyed with teammates or people who I'm playing with, that's when I know no, this ain't me. I gotta hop off. It's time. Because that's the last thing. Because also I don't want to be that guy, kind of in a team. So I'd rather just bow out instead of which is a positive thing in a sense. Because I know it's more me. Yeah, no, it's 2:00 in the morning. Yeah, no, I should be acting like this. Let me get out. This isn't good. Yeah, and again, when the game is not fun, when it's becoming more of a frustration point, when I'm starting to get angry, even by what people are saying, too, I think, especially if I'm playing with other people. Again, it's time to get out. It's either time to go to bed or it's time to just switch it to something
Pokemon.
else. Pokemon. I've been
Animal
playing Super
Crossing.
Mario Maker. Animal Crossing. Yeah. Has been.
Bowser's Fury. Been doing that.
You know what? I haven't played that one yet. I heard
It's
really
good.
though.
It's good.
Yeah.
It was recommended by a 7-year-old to me, so.
Yeah, I can
actually-
agree. I can
pretty
agree
good.
on
My
that.
go-to de-stress game now has been Super Mario Maker and just playing endless easy, and it's really good.
Nice. Well,
Again, games should be fun.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
And we're going to leave it at that tonight. And I can't thank everybody enough for tuning in with us. 10, Blazin, Lazy, Matt, Doc, everybody, thank you so much for coming on and chatting all together tonight. I love these roundtables, and I love having discussions with everybody. I always find these to be eye-opening and educational, but also just refreshing and fun. I love having just these casual conversations, and it also helps with normalizing talking about mental health and things that affect us, and not only affect us, affect all of us and everyone. And people tuning in can relate. We can all relate to everything that was said and talked about tonight. I mean, these are things that affect not just one person but everyone. And I absolutely
People
love
are
these.
human and they have emotions.
Yep. And I'm looking forward to continuing this every Friday for the month of May for Mental Health Awareness Month. And next week on Friday, we're going to be focusing on a topic of talking about mental health, gaming, and veterans as well. So Lazy Panda will be with us again next week, along with another ambassador and streamer, Nessa. And we'll also have Blake Savage coming on. He is works with us at Guardians Mental Health. He is a second lieutenant. He works in the Air Force for the military psychology. He is a counseling psychology doctoral candidate, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. We're going to reach out to one other person who might be joining us too. We'll see if they're busy. We got to have to send that email still, but we might have another guest on then. But I'm really looking forward to that conversation too, and really diving into it, and then just looking forward to the rest of the month. I love these conversations. Again, thank you all. I look for if everybody here wants to join for another one, absolutely 100% would love it. And I'm looking forward to whatever other topics we come up with and want to touch on. And if you're in the chat and there's a topic that you'd like to suggest, feel free to do so. Send us a tweet, hit us up in an email, jump in the Discord, reach out to us and on a topic that you think would be interesting to talk about and discuss amongst everybody. So again, thank you all for tuning in, hanging out with us tonight, and have a great rest of your evening. Enjoy your weekend. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers and people out there, and enjoy the warm weather. It's going to be warm here. I don't know about everybody else. It's been raining, so
Warmish.
Yeah, I'm in that warmish area
Oh,
until
speak
next
for
week.
yourself.
I got rain.
It's been raining. It's been raining here, but it's supposed to be a good weekend, so I'm looking forward to be working outside.
Yo, you got rain? Send me some. I
No,
need some.
no. Surprisingly,
Excuse me.
where I live in upstate New York, we actually have more rain and overcast days than Seattle.
Let's become best friends. Yep.
And I find that wildly amusing.
I
welcome to
also live
Central
in a
New York.
place.
You live
that
in
gets-
Canada. That don't count.
Well, I'm in Tennessee, and we also get more rain.
Oh,
It's just we don't get than Seattle because it rains more days.
really?
Yeah,
I thought you were up closer to like the Canadian border. I know Doc's in Canada.
I wish.
He's got
I'm in Canada.
snow.
Yeah, send me up that
It
way. I'm
actually
about that.
snowed last weekend.
Oh, you be
I
quiet.
wish.
I don't know. I'll take anyone's rain or snow that they don't want. It's currently 8:30 at night and it's 90 degrees outside.
No, thank you.
Ew.
Actually,
No.
I'll be going to Texas on the 20th of this month.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we'll be flying down to Loot Fest. We'll have a booth down at Loot Fest. If you're also in the upstate New York area, there's another convention next weekend too. This is convention season, so we're going to be making our rounds. We're going to be down at GCX as well this year. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I am not a
Lucky.
hot weather person. I like my mild weather, so
Yo, send me instead.
yeah, it should. This beard doesn't do well in warm weather. Neither does this frame. But no, thank you everybody so much for hanging out with us and joining our conversation. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care.
Yep. Good night, everyone.
Night.
I
Oh, actually, I see Molly on. Let's go by. Let's send everybody
Let's
over
raid
to
Molly.
Actually,
Molly.
how do I?
/raid.
Slash raid.
Lash raid.
Thank you. Molly Funk.
Yeah, right now here it is 3 degrees Celsius.
The rate has been. How? What is it?
3 degrees Celsius.
Oh my goodness.
Celsius.
It's
The
40
non-freedom
some
unit.
degrees.
The non-freedom degree.
Speak U.S. to us. No.
1 second. It's feels like 0.
32 degrees was
Is zero.
So 3 would be. It's like
Let's-
40 something.
37 feels like 34.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's 48 degrees here. Then again, it's been raining, but.
Then again,
Yeah.
I take the 0 over 90.
Yeah, me too.
And Tuesday, it's supposed to be 22 degrees Celsius.
And everybody, this has been your weather forecast from around the globe. Have a
go.
wonderful night. Take care.
Bye.